What if I told you that the brain behind ChatGPT boils down to just 5 simple components wired together and repeated? Welcome to Yurix AI. This is lecture 23 of LLMs from scratch, Zero to Builder. Our goal today is super clear. We're going to build a fully functional transformer block from scratch in Python. Here's our blueprint for today. We'll hit the 5 transformer components, look at preserving the input shape, move on to coding layer norm and feed forward, then building the Python class, and finally testing on an example. Let's get right into it. Section 1, the 5 transformer components. Let's break down this giant, seemingly complex architecture into its basic building blocks. All right, so here they are. These are the 5 exact stations on our transformer assembly line. First up is multi-head attention. That's the mechanism letting different words actually talk to each other to figure out context. Second, we've got layer normalization, which stabilizes our data before it hits the attention mechanism. Third is the feed-forward network. Think of this as a mini neural network that processes each word's data individually to find deeper patterns. Fourth is our second round of layer normalization, applied right before the feed-forward network. And finally, we have shortcut connections. These basically help the original signal travel all the way through the deep network without fading away. So, when you really strip away all the crazy complexity, a transformer block equals attention plus normalization plus feed-forward plus shortcuts. That's the whole shebang. These components are literally just wired together and repeated over and over again. If that just clicked, hit the like button. Moving right along to Section 2, preserving the input shape. Now we're going to look at a bit of the mathematical magic that happens when data flows through this block. This perfectly illustrates a really crucial design choice in transformers. Look at the input tensor shape. It's defined by just 3 numbers: batch size, number of tokens, and embedding dimension. Now what comes out the other side? The exact same shape. No way, right? But it's true. This assembly line perfectly preserves the physical dimensions of the sequence. It holds on to this one-to-one relationship from start to finish. And why does that matter? Because it ensures that even as the context inside the data gets way richer, the physical shape stays identical, which lets us stack these blocks endlessly. Okay, Section 3, coding, layer norm, and feed forward. Now that we've got the big picture, let's roll up our sleeves and dive into coding the supportive architecture around our attention mechanism. First up is layer normalization, or layer norm. Basically, this is a process that standardizes the outputs of a layer so they have a mean of 0 and a variance of 1. You can think of it as a stabilizer. And here's an interesting quirk. Modern architectures actually use something called pre-layer norm. This means we normalize our data before it goes into the attention and feed-forward mechanisms. Doing it this way significantly improves how the model trains compared to older models that did it the other way around. Next, let's talk activation functions. We're comparing ReLU and GELU here. When we build that feed-forward network, we absolutely need an activation function to introduce nonlinearity. That's what helps the model learn complex real-world patterns. Now, historically, ReLU was the gold standard. But ReLU has this really sharp cutoff. If the input drops below 0, it just outputs a flat 0. It's like hitting a brick wall. GELU, on the other hand, which is what GPT models actually use, has a smooth curved shape. It allows a tiny non-zero gradient for negative values. This means neurons with negative inputs aren't just dead weight. They still contribute to the learning process, making optimization so much smoother. So what exactly happens inside our feed-forward module? It's just 3 really simple steps. Step 1, we take our data and use a linear layer to expand its embedding dimension. We're spreading it wide open to hunt for rich patterns. Step 2, we apply that smooth GELU activation we just looked at. Step 3, we use a second linear layer to contract the data right back to its original dimension. So it's basically breathe out, activate, and breathe back in. And that brings us to the 5th component, which honestly is often the hardest concept for beginners to grasp: shortcut connections. I like to just call them the bypass highway. Imagine a really deep neural network is like a massive, heavily congested city. Without shortcuts, your data has to drive through every single layer, stopping at every light, sitting in every traffic jam. By the time it reaches the end of a deep network, the signal, or the gradient that actually trains the model, can completely vanish. We literally call this the vanishing gradient problem. Shortcut connections fix this. They act as bypass highways. They take the original input and literally just add it back to the processed output. This lets the pure original signal skip all that deep city traffic and flow smoothly all the way to the end. So, we've covered attention, the 2 normalization layers, the feed-forward network, and shortcuts. Which of the 5 components was hardest to wrap your head around? Pause this explainer right now and drop your answer in the comments. I'd really love to see where everyone is at. All right, section 4, building the Python class. It's time to actually wire these components together in Python. Let's see how this builds out in a PyTorch class. We'll call it transformer block. Step 1, during initialization, we set up our multi-head attention and our feed forward modules. Step 2, we initialize our 2-layer norm layers and toss in some dropout to keep the model from overfitting. And step 3, we define the forward pass. This is where the rubber meets the road and the data actually flows through the setup. Now, I want to draw your attention to a very specific, absolutely crucial line of code in our forward pass. X equals X plus self.attention block, self-norm1 of X. Take a look at that first X right after the equal sign. That is our raw original input. We are taking that original input and literally adding it to the result of our normalized attention block. That tiny little plus sign, that right there is our bypassed highway in action, implemented perfectly in code. And we do this exact same addition step again right after the feed-forward block. Finally, section 5, testing on an example. We've built the assembly line, now let's run a test product down it to make sure the whole thing works. We're going to set up a dummy input batch to simulate some real data passing through our block. Our parameters are super simple. A batch size of 2, which just means 2 text samples. A token count of 4, so 4 words per sample. And an embedding dimension of 768. And I want to pause on that number for a second. 768. We aren't just pulling random numbers out of thin air for this test. 768 happens to be the exact embedding dimension size used in the smallest 124 million parameter GPT-2 model. So we are literally mirroring real-world architecture here. So we feed our dummy tensor, which has a shape of 2 by 4 by 7068, into our new PyTorch transformer block. And the result? The output tensor shape is perfectly identical, 2 by 4 by 768. This proves our code works flawlessly. The data got normalized, it was analyzed by the attention mechanism, processed by the feed-forward network, routed safely through those bypass highways, and came out the exact same shape it went in, but packed with vastly richer context. So just to quickly recap what we've done, 5 core components form this block. Because the input shape is perfectly preserved, we can plug this block into literally any part of our model. Our pre-layer norm and GELU activations stabilize the entire learning process. And those shortcut connections guarantee our gradients won't vanish, no matter how incredibly deep the network gets. We just built one single block today. But if one block can do all of this, what happens when you stack 12, 24, or even 96 of these blocks together, sequentially like they do in GPT-3? Well, that is where the true magic of large language models begins. Like, share, subscribe to Yurix AI for a new lecture every day, hit the bell,